Hello, how are you guys doing? We're back with another episode. I'm not alone today. I have my host here, Lelo. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I am Lelo. I am from Lelo's Journal on YouTube, so check me out. Other than
Subscribe.
that, yes, subscribe. Other than that, I am just a girl living her life, finding her way through the ghetto hood called adulthood. And yeah.
And Intanda, is it going well?
Bruh, as long as you're breathing, sisirole ke
Ke
bophelo is what
bophelo,
they
ne?
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is me.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Welcome. And we're looking forward to have like interesting conversation.
I
And
hope
welcome to
so.
the family.
I hope so.
So yeah, as you know, I'm Lebogang, and today other hosts are not joining us. So it's me, Nilo, and at the back we have our production guy Moses, digitalizing everything. But yeah, so we're continuing with last time conversation where we were talking about the South African education system. Now we're gonna look on how we can improve it. So in our last conversation, we didn't agree most on other things because we tried to lay down the foundation on why the education is so bad, and also the conclusion that we came to is that it is bad and it can be better. And what's your take on like your general feel about the South African education system so far?
um, I guess personally, from how I've been through it, so I come from, I'd call it a privileged background.
Hmm.
And it was, for me, it was like, okay, this is what school
It
is.
is, yeah, okay.
Until I got to varsity. And obviously, in varsity now, you meet different people from different walks of life. And we have a community service module where you have to accumulate a couple of hours doing community
So
service.
it's at your university level. That
Yes,
okay.
this is university, I think, second year, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, we do that. And then I come across, I'll call him a colleague in university, and he has this, I think it's an NGO or NPO called Keep That Gold Shining, KTG.
Okay.
And so, what he does is he will get us, students doing that community service module. Then we go and tutor math, physics, accounting, depending on obviously what you're good at,
Mhm.
right? I think also he's from Sosha because those are the schools that we
We
went to.
normally went to okay.
Yes, the schools in Soshanguve. I just don't remember the name of the high schools, right? So obviously in every institution you're going to have those kids that are just flying through, and then you're going to have the kids that are doing okay, and then you're going to have the kids that just need that little extra push. And it was not so much the kids that needed the extra push, but more so the, I guess, the gap in terms of how much they needed the push. Because we were tutoring, I think it was grade 10 learners, but we had to go back to grade 8 concepts
To lay the foundation.
to, not, I wouldn't say lay it, I guess find some way to revive
Revive
it,
it, okay. So they
you
can
know,
be able to
so they
grasp.
can understand what is happening, you know. So it just gave me a wake up call to say that it's very not the same.
So I want us to unpack this part because it's a very interesting view. Because you're saying education was just you seen it as like education. We're getting this education. You
Yeah.
think it's normal everywhere,
Yes.
and you happen to do community service, and
Hmm.
when you're doing it, you find out, or no, man.
It's not the
So
same.
what's the difference, like that you're picking up?
Well, basics, infrastructure. We
Hmm.
can start there. Um, so just the build of the classrooms, the equipment that they use within the classrooms. For example, um, maybe it's leading. I'm forgetting what it's called. A chalkboard,
Yeah,
right?
the
Yeah,
the,
a
the
chalkboard
board,
and
yeah, that
chalk,
they use.
yes.
Yeah.
And where I went to high school, some of the classes, not all of them, they had I think it's called a smart board or something like that. They also had your projectors, where even in class you could have your teacher just put up some text from their laptop, and then you guys just have
Just
to wada
write
wada
your
wada,
notes.
you
Yeah.
know. Then you come back, you go to these schools, there's like, I wouldn't say gaps on the floor, but you can tell there used to be tile here. It's no longer tile. Kistubu, things like that, man. Like you can, and also I guess in how the learners conversate with you, because remember you're not there as a teacher. You're just there to like,
Yeah, to
you
check
know,
and even give back.
yeah, and give back. So then you just realize that the service delivery is different.
So myself, I come from those type of education system, and
Mm,
unfortunately, I haven't have that exposure like you to go to the other side and compare and see.
mm,
So, because I remember when I was in high school, we would just tell ourselves like, yeah, we don't have much, but we'll just education is education. You just have to
mm,
read this book, make sure that you understand it, and at the end of the day, we'll pass and we'll be with them. Those
mm.
ones who are privy to all
To other
these the
things,
other
yeah.
things. But I don't. I want. Okay. I want to understand. In your sense, do you think they have much an effect in a student understanding, or not even just understanding, being able to focus at a school when they are being taught, not distracted by seeing a zinc, not well, even the tiles that you say they are removed now, it's just a floor, which is somehow, do you think they add up as a distraction?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
No, because obviously, speaking from my perspective, as a kid, you grew up naive and your surroundings are your surroundings.
Yeah,
So
true.
if you don't have that cousin to visit in the burbs, you don't know what life is like on the other
Yeah,
side.
you'll never judge your parent or mama. Well,
I will understand that.
yeah,
Vice versa, if you don't have a cousin in the rural areas, it's like you don't know what life is like on the other side. So you make do with what is around you. Yes, in the sense that it'll take more for you to concentrate in class,
mm-hmm.
because maybe you're feeling cold because the window is broken, or like you can just have a range of different things. And also with having, so we had a computer lab. We didn't have a science lab, but we were able to do science experiments in the science teacher's class, you know. And kids learn differently.
Yeah, there
You
are
learn
different types of
differently.
learning
There's
actually.
different types of learning. I
Yeah.
don't know why I'm shaking. Apologies, guys. But there's different kinds of learnings. So some people learn through reading,
Mm-hmm.
then they go back and they do their work. Some people need the teacher to take them through the work, and then they go on and then they do it themselves. And then they're like, oh, okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. Some people need to watch a video. Well, I understand. So having that many different options in terms of how you can learn is very beneficial. You get science, for example. What is this? Hydrogen and what is it?
Yeah,
I'm
the
forgetting this
different
thing.
compounds that you can mix.
HCI, hydrogen chloride,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that. It's H plus CI or CL, whatever. But it's different when you see the action taking place in front of you. I understand. So definitely it gives a different perspective and understanding. And even I guess when it comes to career choice, you have an idea of what you feel like, this is what I'm going to study.
It makes sense because now you're speaking about those types of learning, or else I'm reflecting back when I used to be in school, when the schooling system.
Mm,
In physics or chemistry, we'll learn those things and not have. the chemicals to
to
just try
use.
out and play around and see what chemical combustion or whatever reaction is gonna come out.
Mm.
We just believe.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, this and this plus that it's gonna be this, should just know. But you don't have that. So now it brings us back to our topic that we feel like the education system it's not doing well. So what do you think about the curriculum? Do you think the curriculum is sufficient, or the problem is in the implementations and also maybe the things that you're mentioning there, how the tools that we administer this education to the kids to understand things like
Yonke into everything. Curriculum, I do not believe it's sufficient.
Mhm.
Because I don't know how long ago it was revised. We had NC something or NC something.
Let me see.
And then we had CAPS. When have you heard of another one? Won't understand.
I get you.
And the world is changing so fast. The world is changing so fast. And I don't believe we are adapting fast
Fast
enough.
enough.
Also, varsity, you'll get learners from
All walks of
either
life.
abroad or even better institutions than the one I went to in high school. And these people are just breezing through first year. Well, in my first year,
Because maybe they have the
they
30th
had
grade.
that, they had that, and we didn't have that.
But we
Oh,
catch up. Second year, we're all equal. It tells
I
us all.
mean, that depends on your resources as well. Do you have a laptop? Do you have to go to campus? How
Fair
far do
enough.
you stay from campus?
Fair enough.
I understand. If you have a bursary or a scholarship or whatever, how long does it take for them to pay out? Can you get your textbooks in time? Or do you get them a week before the exams because that's when the money got paid
And
out?
mhm,
There's just so many
things.
intertwining things. So we are not, I don't believe that we are where we're supposed to be as a country when it comes to education, especially when you look at, remember, I was like, there's a term I want to use. I'm going to insert it here. The human capital index of South Africans is at 0.43 on a scale of 0 to 1. 1
So
meaning that this individual will be 100% what is this, productive in society, and they will get the complete full benefits of health and education within
education.
the country, and the potential professional realization is also at like 100%. I'm not quoting word for word the definition, but it's somewhat of the sort.
I get it.
At the moment, um,
We sit on
at the moment,
0.443. Is
yeah,
it?
0.43, 0.4 something, somewhere there, right? Also, in the sub-Saharan region, South Africa spends 6% or just above of its GDP on education. The marks are not reflecting that amount of money being spent. Whereas you have other African countries that are spending less with better outcomes. So, what I'm saying is we have the potential to do better. We just need to decide where and how are we going to start.
So is our problem the teachers? Because if maybe we're spending so much on education, it means they are trying to to provide these resources, or is it the curriculum? They can't understand it, then they can't even articulate it to the students.
I wouldn't say it's that. Thing is, it's so multifaceted because it's not just about the teachers, it's not
Mm.
just about SGB, the principal, it's not just about the learners themselves, but it also goes back down to where do these learners come
Come
from?
from.
Is it a child-led household? Is it a single parent household? Does this child come to school agile,
Agile.
Alisha,
Mm-hmm.
ready to concentrate, ready to take on the day? Do they have other responsibilities when they get home? I had the luxury of telling my mom, "Hey, dude, I've got homework. I promise I'll do the dishes tomorrow. I promise I'll cook tomorrow." I had the luxury of saying that. Some people don't have that luxury. So it's
They need
very
to multitask
yeah, it's
whilst
very
learning.
whilst learning.
Okay. So now, when you speak about those, you reminded me that South Africa has an agenda, 2030 agenda, where they're trying to make sure that the country is able to be competitive in terms of education, and
Okay.
they produce world leaders, and also the education within the different phases. So we have the pre-foundation or the elementary,
Mm-hmm.
then we have the uh,
Middle
middle
school,
school,
primary.
primary, those stuff, and high school. So I want us, because we're trying to find out how we can improve it. Let's take it maybe to pre-elementary or the elementary part. What can we do at that part to make sure that
Yo.
it works well, and these children, they are developed to understand, okay, this world, it's fast paced. We need to equip them with like resources, like,
Elementary.
you said that the world is moving fast, but
It
we are
is.
outdated. How can we teach those kids from, is it 3 years? Yeah, 3 years. Maybe they should start learning about robotics. Should it be like that?
I believe it should. Well, from the top of my head, because I haven't gone that far back
Hmm.
in terms of reading up on the education. If we're being honest, I that is definitely where we should begin, because now, if you have that strong foundation, it's easier to build on. Like right now, I have instances where I am tutoring my little sister, and she's in, I forgot what grade she's in, somewhere in primary. Understand?
Mm.
And because my basics were so good, it's easy for me to go back to her and break it down and explain to her. Oh, so definitely start, because also I think it's before the age of 5 where the learning rate or learning whatever is amazing,
It's amazing, yeah.
and they can just absorb everything. So to agree with you, yeah, that's definitely where we should start, and introducing talking, communication. I don't know about writing. I don't have kids, guys. So I don't know how they like learn and I only know that a baby sits at 6 months, they're teething. In terms of walking, boma 1 year, 10 months, somewhere there. So I don't know in terms of like kids, babies. But from the top of my head, definitely at that age, if it can be taught, why not?
Okay. So let's bring it back. So we improved preschool.
Mm.
So we say it should be practical, and in it being practical, it means we expose these kids to how human beings behave, how different, maybe different. I see China, they expose to them different careers at their younger age. They in a class they can act as doctors. Now they can at least find themselves. You're saying trying to find oneself, because most of us, I think, we said we want to be doctors because we hear about being
No,
a
not
doctor.
me.
No, some wanted to
I wanted
be,
to be a chartered accountant.
yeah, from childhood. Why?
Not childhood. I think I was told they make a lot of money. I'm a money girl.
Yeah, and someone probably at grade 7, 8, they've never even heard of a CA. So they don't even know that CAs
Yeah, the
exist.
Zeeks, you
True.
see, because those are some things that we started to get exposed when we do things like your accounting. I was
Mm.
like, no, there's a career that pays, called a chartered accountant, you see. Then going back, so we tried to improve preschool. So now let's go to the other phase. How
To
do
what?
we,
To primary.
primary, how do we now, we have these kids who understand the different types of careers out there. They have values, they have morals. they understand at least somehow how the world works. How do we continue from primary now going forward? Do we now start to build on onto coding now, starting to introduce those language, and how do we choose which language to study, because there are so many languages, for example? And how do we, you mentioned there are different types of learning. Some learn through audio visualization, practical touching. How do we incorporate that in the system that we want to build to make sure that this kid, high grade 7, living grade 7, he's well equipped?
Well, like any good benchmarker, you need a baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that baseline is supposed to be straight throughout, right? That means like a primer.
Yeah.
It means all there's this, and I think it's the annual what test, the mathematics. But anyway, we need all grade ones to do these different facets of education. You need your normal standardized test. You need psychometric. You need wara. Then you need to see, okay, this one can do what, right? As Moses said, the production guy gives these kids options.
Mm-hmm.
So the school would know this learner would probably excel here. But let's see what's happening.
Mm.
Because I don't know a lot about kids, but I'd like to believe a lot happens when you're developing. Yes, we are shaped by life and morals and all of those kinds of things, but a lot happens. Well, so you just need a baseline so that every year that principal, he or she knows what they are working with. Then from that baseline, they can now start seeing how they develop the extracurricular activities surrounding that. Because like we have our curriculum where everyone must go through. I understand. But then everything else surrounding that, so that everyone has a place where they feel like they belong, where they feel like they are excelling. Because I'd like to feel what demoralizes us is not being good at that one thing that everyone is supposed to do. So I went to a technical high school, had the opportunity to work on a track I did not want to. But I think it was metric. We had to make a hammer. Which was really cool. Really, really cool, you know? But then it just gave other kids room to shine as well, to excel as well. So things like that.
So I'm just trying to understand you. You say, okay, we have this primary school. In this primary school, we must make sure that, okay, we have a baseline that we set up for everyone to be
see
tested on if they are progressing.
Yeah.
But other countries like Finland, they don't have an assessment model. They rely on teachers feeding a kid depending on how they see they are progressing, the important things that they think this kid should know, based on how. What's your take on that model, not having a baseline but teaching the kid all the skills and not making them to have that sense of failure, that okay, I didn't get 50% for maths or for LO, I'm a failure. Then they start hating that subject. Now you remove that and then you just let them learn.
Touch and go. That's how I feel about it. So it's great. I don't know anything about Finland's education system. I haven't read up on it, watched videos on it, or anything like that, right? So everything I'm going to say is in theory and has nothing to do with practicality. In theory, it sounds great. But then where are you going to get your different professions from? Because when that kid leaves primary, I feel like in high school, there must be some form of direction. Some form. Like when coming to South Africa anyway. Because grade 10, you choose your subject. So there should be some form. Not 100%, but you should know what an astrophysicist is a thing, an astronaut is a thing, an engineer is a thing, a what is a thing. So how does it work in that way?
So you will definitely have a curriculum. You introduce this kid to this type of works. Also, you're feeding them information. You're learning them. You have a curriculum. If maths is compulsory for all, we bombard them with maths, but we're not introducing the sense of failure in them because it has a psychological effect on some kids that they fear to fail. Then they no longer want to attempt to conquer that maths or that physics or whatever. So you introduce them that okay, when you streamline until you can see okay, this one loves this one is an artistic. You streamline them into the world that they believe into. Your
Can I
take,
please interject?
please.
This is a question. If there is no failure, where does resilience come in?
We don't
The
always
building
want.
of resilience to progress in life, or is the aspirations of the child just going to be sheltered in the country that they were born and raised in?
No, I think resilience sometimes can be a childhood trauma because now
No, true.
you expecting this kid to be a fighter at an early age, but what about them learning, just learning? What's your take, Moses, like on this?
Before Moses comes in, what I want to say is there is conflict in all forms of life.
True.
Sometimes my niece or nephew, I just feel like when your parent must come take you. Understand? Because I feel like I am not equipped to handle the situation that child is putting me in. I do not have the level of patience to be able to respond to the child in a manner that is conducive for their learning and their growth and outlook on life. Understand? So in all of that, it's how you approach the situation and be like, you don't tell a kid your child can't come home and say I got 90% and you say where's the other 10.
Doesn't take us back to teachers in this education system, which is improved, should love their work. They shouldn't do it because it's from a point of poverty. They need a job. Now you're going to shout on children.
They should, but passion can only take you so far.
It can, but now you have these kids. You chose to be a guardian, so you have to be patient until forever.
You do, but then I guess then you can come back to the teaching curriculum, which I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that. But coming back to the whole sheltered take on it, that then there's no conflict resolution skills, there's no resilience. That means when real life happens, it's gonna be a varam clap, a hot one, where you're like, what is going on?
Let's take it to the production.
Yeah.
No, I agree with Pleasure.
Speaking on that there should be some wins. South Africa education system is compulsory until grade 9. So now we're on primary. Then you only have 2 years, which are compulsory after primary, which is grade 8 and grade 9.
Really?
Then now it makes us now we need to make sure these kids when they get out of primary they should have something within them that they can use to fight life. So now they're going to these 2 years and some are going to drop out at grade 9. How do we package this primary system to make sure that okay, this person when they leave primary, at least they're a good coder, they can develop some website for someone in India or in China online, or they can have some skills that they can trade off, or their workforce ready if they don't want to continue with the academic journey.
Bombard them with information. That whole proverb of you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach him how to fish, he eats for a life. Let's make public libraries great. If we cannot work on the school's infrastructure, let us work on making the public libraries great. Let it be the place to be, where now you can get lost in a world of information, and you can just know if I'm looking for this, I can go for this. Have a librarian that can say, you know what you're looking for is not here, but I can make a few calls to see what, because there will always be those kids that can go out of their way to make sure, you know what, my dreams are valid and I really want to actualize them. So that's where we can start with improving the education system. We're not going to solve everything in a day, so we can start with libraries.
Thank you for joining. As we can see that this topic is so multi-dynamic, and there's a lot to improve. And thank you for joining. Maybe we'll revisit this topic. I don't know when, but because there's still other phases that need to improve. But thank you for viewing, and say bye to your YouTubers that are watching you. That you want
Firstly,
them here.
I would like to apologize for my shakiness, guys. Ngine nerves, and I understand you why we are bored. But I promise you, my personality is much better.
This thing is not easy.
Much better, right? But I didn't take this serious, man. Understand that. But anyway, it's your girl, Lelo. I call everyone my lovers and friends. I hope you work good, man. When I say that. Once again, check me out on Lelo's journal. I also do have a blog. I write if you like to read. There's also that. But anyway, from me, hopefully you see me again. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, have a great one. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Feel free to share your comments, what you agree on, what you disagree, what you feel like we could have said but did not have the time to say. Until next time. Bye.
Cheers, and we love you. Stay blessed.